It's now time to check in with the good news, bad news for this week. And the topic this week, those slippery, slime-filled bankers and politicians. Every time you try to pin them down, they weasel their way out of trouble. Case in point, the Robin Hood tax. The bad news, a proposed Robin Hood tax on financial trading was struck down by banks before the financial crisis. But the good news, after the crisis, the UK introduced a tax on banks to help offset the damage to the financial system, sort of like a Robin Hood tax. The bad news, the UK promised that once the economy improved, the tax would be scrapped. The good news, that tax ain't going anywhere. No, according to George Osborne, I think the tax is here to stay. And despite the bank's threats to relocate to foreign tax havens, most British banks, they aren't going anywhere either. So just when you want to hate those conservative, bank-loving crooks, Robin Hood lives. But another case in point, more bad news. Lux leaks and crooked tax deals. The EU's new Commission President, Jean-Claude Juncker, is the architect of Luxembourg's tax haven deals with multinational companies like Apple, Amazon, Fiat. The good news, now the European Commission itself is under pressure to provide more tax transparency. And the EU Commission is now proposing new legislation that all 28 European countries, or EU countries, will have to report their taxation policies starting next year in 2016. The bad news, resistance from EU countries. According to France's Pierre Moscovici, of course we all want to stay attractive. The good news, Moscovici is plenty attractive, but is he transparent about it? Maybe, if you offer tax breaks, you should also have to reveal if your country's leader has or has not ever had Botox. If you've had Botox, if you've never had Botox, or if maybe you've had a little work done. The bad news, we clearly need better terminology. Ireland has the double Irish. The Netherlands has the Dutch sandwich. Sometimes you combine the double Irish with the Dutch sandwich. Luxembourg has the Luxembourg something. Yes, they're so boring they don't even have a special term for their tax bracket. The good news is we can vote right now. We need terminology that will stick. What should we call the tax breaks that Jean-Claude Juncker wrote when he was finance minister and prime minister of Luxembourg? Should we call it the lavish Lux? Should we call it the Lux interior? Or is there a way to target the man as well as the country? A way to make sure that the bankers and the politicians can no longer dodge the issue? I think if we want both, then we have only one choice. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce the Lux Luthor. And stay tuned. This week, our guest is Tinkerbell with her new documentary, Do It Yourself. But first, let's check in with European commentary from our European comedian and correspondent, Ado Berger.